South Africa, and a very warm welcome to you. I'm Jeannie D.
And I'm Bonnie Booley. We have an impressive guest list for you in the loft today. We chat to Maskandi legend Ihashi Elimhlope, who's produced 28 albums. He's recorded 28 albums. He's also brought his wife, and we'll be chatting to them about their amazing 37-year-old marriage.
I know, we've actually got another couple in the loft today. The Cloetes, and I've got to tell you a little bit about them. They've been married for 40 years. Wow. Then they wrote a book documenting their struggle for being a mixed-race couple. So it's going to be quite an amazing show discussing love.
Yeah. And because the theme of the show today is love standing the test of time, we've invited a behavioural scientist to tell us exactly what happens in our bodies when we fall in love. I bet you've always wanted to find that out.
We are experts in the show today, let's be honest.
Exactly.
We've also got darling Danilo in the loft.
Yes, good afternoon, South Africa, and welcome to Afternoon Express. It's such an honor to be with you guys this afternoon. I'm very excited to be in the kitchen today because we're making something so delicious. You know, they call me the vanilla thriller, and we're cooking with vanilla today, right? Right? Clem?
I can't believe you just said that!
You make me nice and like, it's so exciting to be with you in the loft today. Just ignore all those sort of comments. So we're cooking with vanilla today, and we're infusing it with a fish.
Absolutely. I find that to be one of the most amazing, unique pairings. I'm sorry, you're still smiling. You can't. But vanilla is amazing with smoked trout, and that's exactly what we're doing today in the kitchen, playing with those amazing flavors.
Oh, and we're pairing it with like a mash that we're doing with peas and mint.
And mint. It's going to be, I know it sounds different, but it's going to be amazing.
And the ingredients look so colourful in front of us. I can't wait to get started with this one. Obviously, we want you to cook with us. There'll be no point in us making it on the show. If you didn't, do it and take some photos and send them to us too. You can go and find this recipe and the shopping list on our website, afternoonexpress.co.za. So you get, like I said, shopping list recipes also. Then all the other recipes we make on the show are available there. But we'll get cooking in the next few minutes or so right here on the show. You can watch us how to do it. But I know when I fall in love with food, I get fat. Let's see what happens when we fall in love with people. What happens to our brains?
Thanks, Danilo. Now, it's very hard to define love, but we all know what it feels like to be in love and the effects it has on us. Pulsating heart, butterflies in the stomach, feeling like you are walking on air. But what actually happens to us when we experience the emotion of love and being in love? To chat to us about this is cognitive behavioural scientist, Dr Jacqui Joubert. You can see we're all feeling very in love at the moment because our brains aren't really functioning.
Oh, you look beautiful.
Welcome.
Thank you very much.
Now, we all have that feeling of feeling chemistry with somebody when we meet them and we fall in love. But is there a science behind it? Do we actually feel a physical chemistry? Like, are there chemical things going on inside of our brains?
Yes, very definitely. Chemistry is a noun. It very definitely happens, and everybody experiences it to a certain extent. What happens in your brain and what happens in your heart is always in conjunction with one another.
Oh, not for me.
Well, normally, under normal circumstances. So, yes, there very definitely are neurotransmitters and there are hormones being produced in the process of falling in love, being in love, experiencing love, and also the attachment that goes with it, and the experience from both sides. Whether you're a man or a woman, you still have those experiences.
Really?
Yes.
I read once this thing, and I want to ask you if it's true, that being in love is the closest a normal person can get to being insane. Is it true? Does it make you a little bit crazy?
Well, it makes me think of that very well-known song, There Ain't No Cure for Love. So, cure for what? Is it insanity or is it illness? I don't think so. It's just a very normal, basic human need, and we all experience that.
Are there different kinds of love?
Yes, there definitely are, yes.
Like what?
And it depends on the context. It depends on the people that are in the process of falling in love, loving, etc. It also depends on who you love, whether it's a romantic relationship, whether it's a love relationship with family members, with your colleagues, with friends. So yes, there's definitely different kinds of love. And normally it evolves from passion, you know, this real passion, exciting love, to a more compassion with stability and security that all these butterflies in your stomach can bring about. So, yeah.
So then is there a difference between, and I mean, this sounds obvious, but feeling in love and just loving somebody?
Yes, I would say there's a difference.
What is that difference?
This feeling in love is a surge of a sense of adventure and something, a novelty that's in your life, and you experience it in a very intense kind of way, and then it kind of polarizes to something more stable, to a more stability in the interaction with the other person, and a feeling of security. So yes, very definitely there's evolvement of what happened.
So just from a neurological point though, I mean, loving somebody, I suppose, can be quite consistent and last quite a long time. But what happens to your brain when you are in love, and can it last?
Can it last? I think I'm still a believer in love. Yes, it can last. Yes. And if we look at our guests that we have here this afternoon, then very definitely it can last. And the chemical reactions that happen in your brain with the neurotransmitters like dopamine and serotonin, which enhances your mood, it makes you feel excited, it makes you feel happy. It's a happy feeling that is created.
Yeah.
And then if you add to that the hormones that are produced in your body at the same time, I mean, just looking at adrenaline, you know, it makes your palms sweaty and you're excited, the butterflies in your stomach. It very definitely contributes to the whole experience of falling in love.
And here's something that we all definitely know strangers to. What happens when you fall out of love?
Well, that's a very good question.
Yeah.
Some people say you only love when you fall out of love, meaning that you extend yourself past that feeling of excitement, which is really a transitory phase. You know, it cannot last for 90 years. On the other hand, if you fall out of love, there may also be, depending on the circumstances and the context, it may be a traumatic experience. Yeah. And then you've got to give yourself time to work through that like a normal traumatic experience. But very definitely, you can fall in love again. So there is a good prognosis as well. Yeah.
Okay, so what you were saying now is basically falling in love and falling out of love are transitory phases. So they're not feelings they're not feelings that can be permanent. You can't permanently have that butterflies in your tummy. So then what is that transition from falling in love to then actually just being?
Yeah. Well, I think it's important on that point to say one must continuously re-engineer your relationship so that you don't lose that cyclic feeling of being in love, the butterflies. You must still be able to get butterflies in your stomach when you see your wife or your husband or your partner in 10 years' time again. So the challenge in relationships, in my opinion, is to be able to re-engineer that continuously. The initial feeling and the initial emotion, keep in mind that romantic love is not emotion. It's basically a message that is sent from your brain to your body to say, this is great, this is survival, this is something that you've got to nurture. It's not the emotion, it's only a component of the emotion.
So if you have a look at some of our guests today, they've been able to consistently be in love, even though they've gone through so many trials and tribulations.
Yeah, wonderful.
What is it about a relationship that makes you have the ability to keep on re-falling in love?
The experience of being attached, the attachment phase, and I'm hesitant to call it a phase because it implies that it's going to be there and then it passes. It's basically a cycle, but the attachment phase, when you settle down and you've survived the initial sense of adventure in your relationship, and there's a longing to be together, and there's a long-term need to be together. It's a kind of a interdependence, but not dependent in a bad way. It's like we really need to be with one another because we want to. It's not the codependency, which is not a good aspect.
But then, having said that, what are the challenges, I suppose, in an intercultural relationship?
Well, I would imagine an intercultural relationship would have very unique challenges. A normal relationship has got its normal challenges, as we all know.
Tell me about it.
Yes, but you've got your language barriers and communication barriers. Communication extends to so many other areas. It's not just talking, you know, expressing yourself. It's also expressing your way of loving. your way of teasing one another, because that's something that you must keep in your relationship. It must be exciting, and that kind of communication very often has got very specific challenges in an intercultural relationship.
Thank you so much for chatting to us. You've actually just made me feel like I want to be in love. After the break, we're making vanilla-infused smoked salmon with minted pea mash, and we chat to a dietitian about how the importance of a healthy nutritional choices for your children. We'll be right back.
This March, Diners Club South Africa and Afternoon Express are giving away an exclusive once-in-a-lifetime golfing experience to 21 lucky viewers at 3 of the top courses around the country. In Durban, a golf clinic with the resident golfing coach at the prestigious Zimbali Country Club. In Cape Town, a clinic with Etienne Olivier at the Steenberg Golf Estate. And in Johannesburg, a golfing clinic with top-notch golfing coach Martin Breday at the Royal Johannesburg and Kensington Golf Club. Each winner will also be treated to a luxurious lunch and golfing voucher for 2. Visit afternoonexpress.co.za/giveaways to enter. T's and C's apply and also are available on our website. You have lived, laughed, loved, achieved, received, and been rewarded. What's next? Join Diners Club now. Welcome back to Afternoon Express. Now, it's a hump day, and I feel like forever on the show we haven't cooked a delicious fish. So we've got Clem in the kitchen with us today. We're going to be making something so amazing. It's a vanilla-infused salmon that we've kind of paired with a minted pea mash. And it all just sounds so extravagant and delicious, but I'm hoping he said to me and what is going to be correct, and that it's very simple to make.
Absolutely easy, and the best part is, by the end of it, it's going to look like a professionally plated chef dish.
Oh, yummy. Okay, so we can lie to our
cracking.
friends and just basically serve them a piece of fish on a plate.
Absolutely. So what I've done is I've just blanched some peas in some salted water.
Okay.
And the trick
Blanching,
is
is?
in rapidly boiling water with some salt.
Okay. So that's just all that
So you can
is.
do it with
Okay.
any vegetables, root vegetables, peas, anything. The idea is just to get them cooked and also to season them slightly. That's why we use a bit of salt. So we're going to make the mash. Today I'm making it in a puree. At home, if you're making it, you can simply use a potato masher just to bring it all together. It's all about texture, about flavor.
Yes.
So today we're going to keep it nice and smooth. So what I'm going to do is, as you can see, the peas are busy boiling. They're ready to come up. We don't want to cook it to mush, but we do want to make sure that they're quite tender.
Yes.
So I'm going to get that out. While I'm doing that, will you pick some mint for me, please?
I can do that.
Because what's minted peas without
mint?
mint?
Is this all obviously going to go inside the blender? Am I picking this to go inside the blender?
Absolutely. So don't be too fussy if you get a bit of stalk in there. The blender's going to kind of puree it all up for us.
How much do you want? Sort of like a handful?
The mint flavor with this dish, let's do a handful. You really want
quite subtle, I suppose, because that mint can be quite overpowering at times.
Exactly, and then the mint being the peas being quite sweet. You don't want to overdo it.
Okay. I'm assuming, obviously, that we can use fresh mint from the garden if you want to go and make your own little organic little garden. The best thing about the best herb to grow for me is mint because it's fragrant too. You can use it in all your dishes, and at the same time it goes in your drinks. Hey, look at me.
And also they take over. I mean, they spread like we say,
wildfire,
like weeds.
yeah.
But I mean, that's amazing. It's great, and they make. Actually, have you noticed when the wind blows a bit, you actually get a smell of mint, which is quite great.
What are you doing now?
What am I doing now?
What's that?
Creme fraiche. So what we're doing is, we've spoken about it before, we're balancing out flavors. So we're bringing a bit of little sourness with creme fraiche in there, also making it quite creamy.
Yummy.
So let me get the lid on this guy, and while I'm doing that, we're multitasking in the kitchen today.
That's fine.
If you can
We're
pop
ADD,
some
it
fennel
works.
fronds into that mixing bowl at the end for me. So I'm going to bring this to stop blending. And that's the hardest job right there, busy blending.
Yes.
I mean, let's get a little bit of salt in there.
Also love the smell of fennel.
With that strong aniseed flavor.
But I'm getting this
Amazing.
mixture of the mint. So obviously on my fingers I've got a bit of mint. I can smell fennel and mint. This is a
Exactly.
delicious combination,
And
my word.
I'm going to leave you to the salad because you're doing such a good job. Cool. So mint, we've got some more fresh peas.
Oh, so I must put mint in here. Fresh peas, mint, all of this is going in there.
Absolutely. I've got some spring onion. What I've done is I've used the purple ones just to add a bit of color. I know we're playing around with green today. We sort of break the colors.
Nice.
And I've got some more.
Snap peas.
Which is peas everywhere today.
Yes.
So sugar snap peas.
That's something that my mum always said I mustn't do is pee everywhere. So gladly we get to do this in the kitchen today. Okay. So I can do this in here?
Okay, fresh peas go in.
Cool.
And let's season a bit. Let that go as fine as you want it. A little bit of salt, just to bring it all together. A little bit of lime, and while I slice the lime and squeeze it on there, will you do the olive oil for me?
Sure I can. Just drizzle this over here.
Absolutely.
La, la, la.
There we go.
So this is a nice sort of salad. I'll tell you why, because it's got a lot of ingredients in it. It doesn't take those leaves that sort of just overpower everything, and they're so big and bulky. This is something that almost feels a lot more healthy than a normal salad, because you're not, you're getting all that real greenness in there.
And every ingredient lends something to the dish.
Delicious.
And that's very important. That's what makes this dish actually quite simple. We're not fussing too much.
Okay. And I'm assuming, obviously, we're going to make the fish a little bit later on, so we can get that done at the end and serve a fresh, warm piece of fish. Delicious.
Look at you.
Okay, this looks so amazing. The greens are looking amazing with a little bit of purple thrown in there. In the meantime, however, right on Afternoon Express, later on, we're going to be making ourselves that vanilla-infused salmon. So you want to see how that's done? Make sure you tune in later on. In the meantime, Jeannie's in the garden.
Welcome to another instalment of the Fresh Pack Natural Goodness series. Today we're talking to dietitian Bridget Surtees about the importance of healthy nutrition for children and ways of getting them to eat what's good for them. Welcome, Bridget.
Thank you.
Now, I think all of the back-to-school excitement has now died down, and mums have got that daily struggle of making sure their kids are being healthy on and off the playground. How can they ensure this?
So the first thing is looking at the food and the drinks that you're giving your children, making sure those foods are healthy foods. They're going to prevent diseases of lifestyle later on, and they can keep your children concentrating throughout the day. And the same goes for drinks, just as important, making sure they're drinking plenty of fluids and that they're the correct type of fluids that you're giving your children. What you can think of is tea. A cold rooibos tea with lots of ice makes water a little bit more interesting. And as well as nourishing the children, making sure that they're engaging in physical activity. So the current guidelines are our children should be doing about an hour of activity a day. But this activity needs to be age appropriate. You don't need to send them off to the gyms. They can be climbing jungle gyms, climbing trees, but just making sure they're physically active.
Now, how can you ensure this? I mean, I think it's so easy for a mom to just, when you're packing a lunchbox, throw a whole lot of sugary things and really unhealthy things. What kind of foods have to be included in those lunchboxes?
So when I pack a lunchbox, I've got a mental checklist, and I go through that just to make sure that the child's got these healthy foods. Because if you think about it, that lunchbox has to sustain them from the morning all the way through the school day and then their extramural activities. So you need to give foods that are going to help them concentrate and foods that are going to sustain them, preventing mood swings and giving them the energy that they need. So I go through all the different food groups, and I start with my protein foods. So the protein foods are like your meats and your fish and your chicken. Then I go to the fruit and vegetables, making sure you've got your fruits and vegetables there. Then you go to dairy foods. Have they got the dairy in? That's your cheese and your milk. And then grains for some children. So I just go check that all those foods are in the lunchbox. It's not just that sandwich sitting there, but all those other foods that need to sustain them through the day.
Why is it so important to include those 4 food groups?
Let's start with your protein foods. So proteins are the building blocks of the body. You need them to build the bones and the cells. And our bodies can't store protein food, so you need to provide it on a daily basis. The fruit and vegetables have your antioxidants, your important vitamins and minerals that are protective against diseases of lifestyle and the common cold and flu ailments. It just gives you lots of vitamins and minerals. And then your healthy fats. So your healthy fats are great to include, and they also help store and transport your vitamins around the body.
As long as you're able to find avocados nowadays.
Yeah, expense. But fats also keep you full. So a lot of people are a bit wary of using fats, but they're fine as long as they're the healthy fats, keep you full. And then your dairy foods are great for strong bones and teeth, so to include those every day as well.
But how do you actually get them to eat it? Because I'm pretty sure that they're all going to want money to go and buy rubbish at the tuck shop instead. So how can you ensure that they're actually going to be taking in all of this healthy food?
So I think you need to start at home. And do at home what you want your children to do. Don't worry too much what happens outside the home, but if you can instill good eating habits in the home, and the children gradually will start learning what healthy food is and what isn't. So again, age depending on the child, get that child involved in food preparation or get them to go shopping with you and choosing healthy foods and start reading labels and discussing, why is that food bad? Because it's got so much sugar, and just start getting the children interested in food and what's good and what's bad for them. And as I said, label reading, because at the moment so many foods have got sugar added to them.
Yeah, it's such a good point though, making it start at home. I've got friends with kids and their kids actually choose the vegetables instead of the sweets. They're angels.
Yeah.
Now, what tips do you have for lunchboxes in particular? What are some little tricks that you can quickly add into a lunchbox?
I think make the lunchbox exciting as well, and you can have a lunchbox with compartments, so it needs to look nice as well.
Yeah.
and thinking about the types of foods you're putting in. That food needs to sustain the heat. So you can always put ice packs in, you know, if you're putting some dairy foods in. What I tend to do is put lots of different colors in, again, to make it exciting. So different cut up vegetable sticks with dips, so healthy fats like hummus for dips or guacamole, avos. Chop up little cheese cubes, make kebabs out of vegetables or fruit. So just make it interesting and child-friendly, and put foods in that you know your children will eat, and also foods that you want them to eat. So at least they're exposed to it. If they come home, it's okay, as long as they've been exposed to the types of foods you want them to eat.
Yeah. So we've discussed what foods to pack into the lunchbox. What about fluids? Just bottled water?
Bottled water is an excellent choice. The other thing, though, some children might find that boring, and you don't want to go for the caffeine drinks or the fruit juices full of sugar. But what you can think of is drinks that don't have caffeine in it, like a rooibos tea. And again, but just hold off that sugar. You can flavor it yourself with lemon juice, but there are rooiboses out there that actually have flavorings that are quite appropriate for children to have.
Thank you so much for coming through. It was lovely having you. Now, there you have it. Making healthy choices for our kids is within your reach, and the results can be profound. Starting with the foods you eat and the beverages you choose, it makes sense to choose natural goodness of brands you know and trust. Until next time, keep well with the natural goodness of Freshpack.
Freshpack. Goodness comes naturally.
Welcome back to Afternoon Express, live on SABC3. In a time where mixed-race marriage was prohibited by the Apartheid government, an extraordinary tale of love unfolded for an unlikely couple. The true-life love story of Ashley and Rose Cloete, as captured in Ashley's book, What God Joined Together, is a story of how hope and love conquer all. Despite the Apartheid law, disapproving parents, and thousands of kilometers, nothing could not keep these two lovers apart. Here to share their story is Ashley and Rose Cloete. Welcome to the Loft. Lovely to have you.
Good afternoon.
Now, you fell in love and had a relationship in a time where mixed-race couples or love was prohibited by the Apartheid government. What kind of challenges did you face?
Well, the first challenge actually happened before I left South Africa. I had the opportunity to study in Germany, but I was very determined not to fall in love because I wanted to return to South Africa, and I thought, wow, if that happens, then I won't be able to come back.
Wow. And where did you meet? I should have actually asked that first.
Perhaps I must first also say on my side, on the other side,
yes.
I also faced a challenge. And that challenge was that I was, as a child already, it was instilled in me, never ever to marry a foreigner as a German.
Wow. Okay. Wow. Okay, so when did you meet and where?
Well, that happened one evening at a Christian youth club, which I had been attending regularly. And
in
then,
South Africa?
No, that's in Germany
In
now.
Germany.
And then in walked this beautiful young lady. And then when she introduced herself, Ich heiße Rosemarie Goebel aus Mühlacker. Wow! And then the spark just
Wow.
Yeah, and I was actually quite blown away by this bubbly, lively, open person, you know. In Germany, you are not so open. And this young man, he just started to ask me questions.
Wow.
And it was just, it was
You just
wonderful. how
clicked. It was just
clicked.
magical.
It clicked, yeah.
We just showed you a picture of you when you were younger, and it's a picture that you used to have behind your door of her.
That's correct.
What would you think when you looked at this picture, whenever you missed her?
Well, that was a special rendezvous, you know. Every Sunday evening, my time, 9 o'clock.
My
we
time,
would,
10
and her
o'clock.
time, 10
in
o'clock.
Germany.
It was a time,
Yeah.
our difference. We would pray for each other. And that's during this period when we were apart.
Wow. I mean, relationships can be really difficult, but when you've got a country's laws against you, how do you fight that?
Yeah.
Yeah, well, let me just go a little bit back to the story, because actually, after that initial meeting, for quite a few months, we lost contact. So it looked very
You just lost contact. You just lost each other.
Yeah, we had no phone numbers, etc., from
Nothing.
each other.
And then,
How did you meet again?
miraculously, in another opportunity and another event, we bumped into each other again.
Wow.
And,
at
that was 2 weeks before he was supposed to go back to South Africa.
Wow. So what did you do with that meeting? What then happened?
Yeah.
Well,
Problem started. That was actually the first thing. Problem started from my side, from my parents' side, who couldn't accept that I fall in love with somebody from another country.
Right.
And
Of another race, yeah.
that as well,
Yeah.
yes. And I was warned as a small child already, if you want to have a secure future, marry a German.
Wow.
But my ideas were a little bit different because I was always open for other countries. I love to read about other cultures.
Yes, yes.
I love to meet people from other cultures. So when I met him, for me, it was just not an issue.
Wow. And then you got it. When did you get engaged? That's a picture of you guys on your engagement
That's
day.
right.
How did you make this work? What was your solution from realizing? Were your parents against it? Were your parents for it?
My parents, they were quite open to the relationship, but they were not too happy about it because I wanted to bring her to South Africa.
To South Africa.
And
the
they
South
said,
African government wouldn't allow
how
that.
can you do that?
So how did you fight the system?
Well, initially, I should say, while being in Germany in those first 2 years, I was reading a lot about Martin Luther King and what he was doing in the States.
Right.
I became very determined. I was going to fight the apartheid government. I joined almost immediately the Christian Institute, which was started by Dr. Jacqui Joubert, where Christians would read the Bible together, people from different races, and that was, I thought, the thing. If we can show and display our unity in Christ, that will be the very best way to fight apartheid.
And so how did you get married then? Did you get married in this country? How did you make that work?
No.
You had to go to
We
Germany.
had to overcome lots of obstacles. We also broke apart from each other for a while because the difficulties were just so enormous. From his side, from the countryside. He tried to reclassify me to get me into the country. Didn't work. And on my side, my parents, my family side.
That was very interesting, by the way. Eh? I mean, she was blacklisted. Does she look black?
No, I couldn't come into the country. I wanted to come into the country to meet his parents, to meet the family, to see South Africa. I've heard so much about South Africa. I wanted to see it. I wanted to experience it. But there was no way I could come into the country because I was blacklisted.
Yeah, despite all that, you've been married 40 years.
Yeah, 41
That's
years.
incredible. How did you take all that frustration and all that fighting for this relationship and turn it into a book, an act of compassion and kindness? How did you do that?
Well, there was a special part to the story. In our fight to get to the country, initially on our honeymoon, that was already a fight. We traveled with different aeroplanes to come into the country for the honeymoon. And then 3 years later, on a visit here, now we had to apply to travel together in the same train compartment from Cape Town to Johannesburg. And this went right up to the cabinet. But this angered me such a lot that I said, I've enough of this. I don't want to put my foot in this country again. So I was so full of anger, and I just thought there was one little thing I would love to do. And I would love to sit under God's word with Dr. Jacqui Joubert. That's my last thing for South Africa, and then I would leave the country and never come back.
Wow.
So, having arrived in Johannesburg, one of the first things I did was to phone him to ask him into which church he was going on a Sunday. He was banned at the time. He was usually the last one to enter the church and the first one to leave the church again at the end of the service. But I just thought, okay, if I can be under God's word, that will be very comforting to me for my last goodbye for South Africa.
Yeah.
But then it was so good that his wife actually came to us after the service and explained how I could follow him to his house, which was, we knew, tapped. So what we were saying there would be
heard.
relayed to the government. But he was fearless, but loving.
Yeah, yeah.
And that experience with him together really changed me. God used that to make me very determined to fight. Also for him to be unbanned, but also determined to bring her back to South Africa.
To South Africa. And now you have a
together.
beautiful family, and we
That's
just
right.
showed a picture
Yeah.
of them on the screen. Thank you so much. We're also giving away a copy of this book. What is it about this book that made you write it? Why did you feel like you had to write a book?
Yeah, well, when our revered President Nelson Mandela, when during his funeral, then suddenly I thought, well, I had written this book years ago already. You know, I have a blog. I love writing and love researching, so I had written this few years before that, and then I thought it would be so nice to give this story to our grandchildren.
Oh, it's
And
absolutely
so,
incredible.
well, that's what the idea came to have it edited. Our daughter did that, and she made the photo on the cover too. She's a photographer.
Yes.
And our son in London, he did some editorial work on it. And there you've got the book.
Wow.
And by the way, it can be also downloaded for free.
Wow.
Yeah, on the website. eh?
Wow.
That is.
What advice do you have to young South Africans out there, any South Africans who are in a mixed race relationship?
Well, I think what is very important is communication with each other, you know. And the other thing also, not taking each other for granted.
Yes.
For
yes.
us, this marriage is a gift.
Yes.
Because we overcame so many obstacles.
To
So,
be here.
Yeah. So it is something very precious. And if you are open, if you are open-minded, it's actually such a plus to be married to somebody from a different culture.
What I find very interesting about being in a mixed race relationship is that a lot of the issues and problems and perception problems that you experience are not from within their relationship. They're usually from outside the relationship.
That's right.
It's usually people outside the relationship who have a
Yeah.
problem with
Yeah.
you being together.
Yeah.
I mean, was that something you just got used to? Did you get used to being stared at, being talked about all the time? Because that's a very big part of that type of a relationship.
Yeah, well, the difficult one is if people who are close to you oppose you. Now, I had, right after my return from Germany, right way back in 1970, talking to my cousin, who was minister, bubbling over about my love relationship to this lady.
Yes.
When he put that, he said, Ashley, but you must choose. You can't have both South Africa and Rosemary.
Wow.
So that was very difficult.
That's a difficult thing to hear.
And she also had so similar, on that side again, also people telling you.
Yeah, they were warning me. Imagine you marry him and your child looks different than you and all of that. I said, but that's not the issue for me. That is not important for me. I mean, luckily I never was very vulnerable to this kind of...
Right.
yeah,
And did
things
your
from
family
people.
ever come around? Did they come to accept your family,
yes.
accept your
That's
husband,
actually the
accept
wonderful
your
thing,
choices?
yes. I already mentioned that we broke the relationship for a while. It became really, really complicated and difficult. But we said, okay, we also want to give my parents a chance to come around.
Wow.
And that was actually the point we were waiting for. And it happened. Because on my birthday, I got a letter from my mother.
Yes.
Where she said she was so hit by a word she got. And it was a daily text word. And it said, love the stranger as yourself.
Wow.
And she knew that was meant for her. It meant that she must open her life, her heart towards him. And it became a good love relationship, I must say.
And we still love each other.
Oh my goodness, what a beautiful story. I'm a big fan of mixed race relationships. Thank you so much for joining us. If you'd like to win a copy of Ashley Cloete's book, What God Joined Together, then SMS the keyword books, your name and city to 33728 to stand a chance. SMSs cost R1.50, T's and C's apply, and are available on our website, afternoonexpress.co.za. We'll be right back. Don't go away.
Well, welcome back to Hump Day right here on Afternoon Express. So we're in the kitchen today and we're cooking with a salmon, and I'm very excited about this dish because it looks so gourmet, but it's the most simple dish you can ever make in your lives. If you guys want to go and try and find the recipe, it's on our website, afternoonexpress.co.za. There's a whole bunch of people from around the country who are trying to cook along with us today, and that's very exciting. So how we've kind of basically done so far is put together our salad, which is mint. We've thrown in a bit of sort of onion in there. We've got some of the peas and some other types of peas, so our snap peas that are in there. You've now blended up our peas, mint, and creme fraiche.
Exactly.
Okay.
So we spoke about it being a, let me just get the pan
Mash.
out, a pea mash. But you know what? It was totally intentional, and we turned it into a pea puree.
Pea puree.
Did you want to show?
What happened, Clem?
We turned it into this beautiful pea puree. You know what? Nothing happened. We meant to do that.
Okay, so
you know
it
what
was a mash up.
You know what we did was we added too much creme fraiche.
Okay.
But you know what? It's going to be delicious. It's going to be amazing.
That's fine. Creamier the better, I understand. And I understand that I get to have some fun today in this kitchen, which I'm very excited about because our chefs tend to just take over and I just stand there and watch, and I'm excited to learn new things. Plating is the worst thing for me.
But I trust you now, because we've been in the kitchen for, it's been a long time.
Okay.
But before we do that, let's get talking about
me through the fish.
So I'm using smoked salmon with the skin on. And we've got our pan, that's looking very hot. You could use smoked trout. This dish works because of the fact that it's a smoked fish.
Okay.
So what we're doing is we're going to hit it with some butter.
Okay, so that's the butter. Obviously, all those portions on the website, yeah?
Absolutely. If you can pass me... Oh, let me just get my sock quickly.
I do nothing in here, clearly,
I know,
anymore.
but you've got a big job.
I just stand here and look pretty.
You've got a very important job. So let's get that butter, that oil together.
Cool.
What happens is when you see it's turning a bit dark, don't get worried. That's actually going to help as well. It brings out a really nutty, biscuity flavor in the butter, which seasons the fish. And
I've only recently started cooking quite a lot with butter, and what I love about it is it does give things a richness to it. And as much as I always try and avoid it because everyone thinks it's unhealthy, the flavors in butter will change your life. You will not want to live another day longer than that once you've had this sort of butter flavor. So
remember also the amount of butter you cook within the pan. You don't always transfer that amount into your plate.
Oh.
You leave a lot of the butter behind in the pan. But like we said, butter's not bad. It's all about the moderation and how we use it.
Exactly.
So what we're doing is we're putting it down skin side first. And you know we do that because we try and get that really crispy skin, which adds so much to the actual fish itself.
Totally.
Because salmon's great, but if you've got that crispy skin in it, 10 times better.
Okay.
And also very important, don't overcook it. It's the worst thing ever.
No, because it almost becomes quite dry, and salmon already is quite a nice fatty, and it's an oily fish, and it's got a lot of flavor thrown into it. So the searing, the closer you can have it to a sear, the better you can enjoy
The closer you can have it to basically raw,
the better.
The better.
Yes.
So what I do, how I do mine, is I just sear the skin and I take it off.
Awesome.
Because you'll see, I wish I could actually show you how...
I can see this.
You can
it's starting to cook through already.
Exactly. And you don't need to actually do more than that. But you know what? We're just going to do it. We're going to do the conventional way today. We're going to turn it over.
Okay,
and look at that skin already.
Sides. And it's nice because when you cut it into, you've got those nice brown sort of textures on top, and then just in the middle there's that slight pink, which is delicious.
So here's where we turn things on its head. We're using vanilla. So the butter's in there, a little bit of saltiness to go with the natural saltiness and oiliness of the fish. Okay. We're going to whack in some vanilla seeds.
Okay, now vanilla seeds you get from vanilla pods, if I'm not mistaken, which you have to buy separately. Can you just use like a vanilla essence or some other form of vanilla, like the little sticks?
I wouldn't. You know, so much of the natural, unsweetened flavor comes from just the seeds. So that's the trick. For this dish, use... And you know what? It's such a treat. Get the original thing. Get the proper vanilla bean. Take the seeds out. And if you're not going to... We've added the vanilla bean stalks to the pan.
I can smell that immediately.
But what you can do is also make the product a little longer. Take those out, pop them in sugar, and you got vanilla sugar.
Oh, my word. That's so cool. Oh, I see.
So let's see.
So you've taken the little seeds outside of the pod itself and thrown in the pods as well. So two separate little pods.
Just because we're going to use that for your beautiful garnish.
Oh, yummy.
Your beautiful garnish. Let's talk about your plating.
Don't set expectations. No expectations on my garnish, South Africa. Okay. I'm going to try my best, yes.
Let's start.
Let's do it.
Okay, no pressure, no pressure.
I feel like I need to start warming up. Like,
okay, here we go. Your spoon and your puree. So you're going to give me your best chef smear.
A chef smear.
Don't forget the trick. You have to raise your backhand up.
Raise the backhand, or other hand. Up
there we go.
Here. You want to take
go.
a scoop of the little stuff. I'm going to do a double smear if you don't mind.
Whatever you like.
So you're going to place a little portion here, right?
The whole of South Africa's watching right now.
That's one. Wait, it's not. The game's not done yet. I'm going to do another one. This is my second attempt. It's okay.
It's nice.
It's okay.
I like it. I like where it's going.
If you place the fish here, I'm going to place a little bit of the salad down the bottom here. It'll create nice colours.
You tell me, where would you like your fish to go?
Please, widthways along here, skin down.
Skin down, not skin up.
Okay, skin up.
Skin up, okay, okay. Okay, you show me.
Just right in here in the middle like that.
Okay.
just so that my little point, that's long ways, lengthways, other ways. Ooh, careful, careful, careful. I'm joking, there we go. Like that is perfect. And then can I just put some of the salad along the side of it?
Absolutely. Let me turn your smear side to the camera. How's that?
Okay, there we go.
Let the country see the magic of Daniela's plating.
Can I choose my hands? I have washed my hands, so they're clean. So
you go.
Just to kind of get this sort of flavors in there. Those colors. How delicious does this look? I know not everyone has a nice big plate, like black plate that's ceramic like this at home. But if you don't have one, go and get one because it makes all food look delicious.
Absolutely. I'm so impressed. Look at that. Do you mind if I plate your final garnish?
By all means. This is a collaborative effort we're making in the kitchen over here. And obviously, if you want to collaborate and try and make this delicious dish at home, you can find the recipe and the shopping list. It is available on our website, www.afternoonexpress.co.za. And I've had a lot of guests who I've met on the streets of South Africa always ask me, like, where can I get all the recipes from? And if you don't know how to use our website, go find a grandson or a nephew or a niece and find somebody who's able to go and get them, print them out for you, give it to you for your birthday or some kind of celebration that you guys can have. So make sure you guys go to our website, afternoonexpress.co.za, to get this recipe and the shopping list. This is ready, looks delicious. Bonnie's on the couch.
Earlier on, I had the absolute pleasure of interviewing Maskandi legend Ihashi Elimhlope and his beautiful wife, Mamngobo. And the interview is available on YouTube, and it's done entirely in Zulu, and it's a first for Afternoon Express. Wow. And we weren't able to put the subtitles on live because we are on live television. But thank you so much for joining us. And we are giving away a free copy of your CD. Today we're giving these copies of Ihashi Elimhlope's 28th album, Maskandi Osentweni. All you have to do is SMS the keyword music, your name and city to 33728. SMSs cost R1.50. T's and C's apply and are available on our website, afternoonexpress.co.za. Stay right where you are because after the break, Ihashi Elimhlope performs in our loft, so don't go anywhere.
Salati Plantation Select adds subtle sweetness to toffees, caramel, bran muffins, or sprinkled into a spicy curry. Salati, always good, always sweet.
Five Roses blends only the top 2 leaves of the finest Ceylon teas. Because nobody makes better tea than you and Five Roses.
Welcome back to Afternoon Express. So it's a hump day and we're all getting ready for the weekend, and I'm very excited because we made some delicious food in the loft today. We also have some tremendous guests, and don't forget the interview we had with the gents will be on our YouTube channel later on, as you guys can go and try and find that. It's just find Afternoon Express on YouTube. But we do have him live in the loft. Ihashi Elimhlope is here. He is the white horse, I'm the white chef, so let's enjoy this music right here on Afternoon Express. Take it away.
Angizoperforma ngoba uma uperforma kufuneka izinto eziningi kodwa nje ukuthusa ukuthi Ihashi Elimhlope leli ngathi ukushayela kancane ngathi angiboni yeah ungathi angiboni hawu kanti ngiyabona yeah ngithule ngamabomo hawu kanti ngiyabona yeah ngithule ngamabomo khuluma nazo phela demdeni lisedelela lo mlungwana nokusikaza umuntu esevenini khuluma nazo Ihashi Elimhlope lehlala enyongo ntabula mazungudla ikwele lapho uza lapha laziswa kusho mina ngisho ku khuluma phela ngqongo ngalelo sekulamantshela njengentondolo bhodla kwanye kuyosho ezulwini ukuthi abamfla kwamhlaba qinisi hlehlele dana sebedlele kuyadla kuyayishela maswayibala kanti awazi yithi abantu nabalungu bayazi mawungakholwa ungababuza angazi ukuthi uzwa kanjani ngikutshelile ngathi ngishapho ngegrand ngimnandi ngifresh kwasha abafana ngumaskando seyintweni ngumaskando top ngiyabonga mina.
There's something so awesome about praise singing that you can, even if you don't understand all of the different nuances, there's just something about it that you can feel the spirit behind it all, which is really, really fantastic.
It's an incredible energy. Abalandeli bakho baba, uma bebuka le CD, what can they expect from it?
Yeah, i-CD imnandi kakhulu. Ngicabanga ukuthi umuntu olandela ihashi uzothola yonke into eyaziyo ngehashi. Into engiyenza ukuthi unyaka nonyaka uma ngirelease ngenza sure ukuthi album yami ingoma eziphakathi azifani ingoma album entsha azifani ingoma ezedlulile futhi.
Okay.
And because your Zulu is so outstanding, what is that translation?
Yeah, every year you try and create a different style and sound for your music, so I think that's what's exciting about this one.
Yes, exactly.
I did a little bit of that in Zulu at high school, so I'm glad that helped me over there.
Make sure you join us again tomorrow. Join us again tomorrow for Afternoon Express. Yes, and tune in early because during the first 15 minutes of the show, we're joined by a professional image consultant to give us advice on how to improve our self-confidence. And in the kitchen, we're making harissa lamb skewers and sumac seasoned flatbread.
Oh, it sounds so delicious. Guys, thank you so much for joining us in the loft today. It's really cool for you guys to come and share your love and share your passions with us. Hopefully one day I'll have a marriage that lasts as long as yours, guys.
Yeah,
did. So really, really inspiring. We go through the small challenges, we break up with everybody. They've gone through like life changes and are still together. So it's fascinating. South Africa, have a good night. Happy eating. Bye-bye.
Ciao.
So delicious. Coming up tomorrow on Afternoon Express, we get some valuable advice from image consultant Verleen Sieberhagen, and we take a look at renowned designer Gert Johan Coetzee's brand new and exciting project.
Another feel-good production.
Hi YouTubers, thank you so much for watching. Your support means the world to us. Join the Afternoon Express family by subscribing to our channel right here. And we'll keep you up to date with all our recipes and of course our fabulous episodes. Also, feel free to leave a comment and share this video. We do love it when you express yourself.